Hello everyone, my name is Alberto and welcome back to my channel. So I had this idea since there's a whole TikTok ban from Trump that we can take a look on some hashtags on TikTok, and particularly as you can see the sewing hashtag, because I did look at it. Sometimes I don't use TikTok as you might imagine. But I did take a look, and there's actually a lot of very cool stuff. So my idea was to take a look at some of them and hopefully maybe also be able to give some advice to you. If you get any glaring in the glasses, I'm sorry, it's from the lights, but I'm out of my contact lenses and I'm blind. So obviously everything is with no music because of copyright. But here she explains a bit of how she made it. As you can see, she's making the understructure and she's using this big crinoline that I'm assuming she made that as well. She's a seamstress and she makes everything from scratch. So you can see the crinoline here is to sustain the whole weight of the fabric on top and to give that A-line shape to the skirt. So she started from cotton. She used an app to calculate. If you're making a circle shirt, sorry to keep pausing, it's actually really easy to calculate. I'm assuming that's what she's doing. She's calculating how to cut the circle for the circle skirt. You really only need the length that would go here. This would be the waist. If you can imagine, when you fold it either in half or in quarters, then in the corner you would go and cut the part for your waist, and then you have the length of the skirt and the whole hem all around. You basically would use geometry and use how to calculate the radius of a circle. Then you would be able to cut your waist, probably adding a tiny bit extra for ease, but since it's cut on the bias as a circle, it's already gonna stretch out a little bit, so you don't really need to do any of that. Just cut what you need, and then you add the length and you immediately get the hem all around. So yeah, she's doing that. She's cutting the skirt. There we go. And that's, as you can see, the circle skirt starts doing these sort of like pleats. They're called canne in Italian because they're like church organs, pipes. And this is what a circle skirt does naturally, because when you get all the different biases on the fabric, it tends to fall more on some instead of others and drag the fabric behind. She got a lot of tulle, obviously. Basting stitch. She's using a basting stitch to gather. That's because it's just easier to pull on the thread. And then she attaches the tulle on the base of the skirt that she did. And all the layers underneath give the poofiness. The only difference, obviously, not her fault. The tulle used in this dress is what here in Italy at least is called usually a bridal tulle. It's very fine and soft. The one she's using is more heavy duty, so it's a bit more scratchy. It's a great idea because it works for fluffiness and poofiness. It gives great body to the dress, but the softer one would require more layers. She's very good. Moving on, this is a cute idea. Her boyfriend asked her to hem his pants because they were too short. She says, I'm assuming she means too long. Or actually she makes them into shorts. So just cuts them, folds them back and sews them. She's using a zigzag stitch. In that case, I cannot go back. I'm sorry. She's using a zigzag stitch sort of in the middle, because I'm assuming this is a stretchy fabric. No idea. There we go. What I would do in this case is to use a straight stitch right here on the edge, because then it would be completely locked. Otherwise this might, it's not gonna happen, it's more of a like a finishing thing, but this bit might sort of roll down and make some thickness, which is not the best. But she had fabric left over, so she's cutting a bodice. And you can see here, these are the cups of the bodice, and she basically created a dart. Yeah, she's using zigzag for everything. I'm assuming it's a knit. And then she's putting grommets in, eyelets. She doubled the fabric. She did very well. She did this sort of laced bodice. It looks great. One thing I would do in this case, since it looks like a stretchy fabric, where she put the eyelets here, a good idea would be what they do in corsets, which is basically to sew a little bit of a channel in the fold between the eyelets and the end, and then you can put a small piece of boning. Like the plastic one that you can cut is fine, you don't need the metal one. And what that does, it gives strength to the end part so that it doesn't fold in or out when you lace it, and it keeps it straight. But I mean, it's just a detail. It fits her amazing, actually. Let's see if there's anything else that might be interesting. This is Russian. So she's doing a shirt. Cutting the pattern. So here she's using a very cool technique that we used to do in school. When you're sewing a shirt collar, you get two corners, and the idea is that you have to turn it outside so you have the little points of the collar. So what you would do is, when you're stitching in the corner, you would put a piece of thread and stitch on top of it. So when you have to turn it, you just pull on the thread and that pulls out the corner. It's really cool. Brings me back some memories. So unfortunately, she didn't really show how she joined the fabric, because first of all, the shirt looks amazing. I think that would be to me the most interesting part. It's such a cool shirt. Are these socks? Shirts? She's doing patchwork? I'm assuming. Okay, here she's using a double needle. It's a machine that's used a lot for knitwear, and it basically does two straight stitches here, and underneath there's a crochet that basically zigzags between the two straight stitches, and that creates a very stretchy type of stitch that's usually used for hems. So she joined. Oh, there we go. Oh, another thing. Sorry if I keep pausing. But what she did is she's making pants out of all different pieces of sweatshirts. She's making sweatpants. So what she did there is she used as a template a pant that she already had. That's the great thing that you can do. It's super easy when you want to recreate something. If you either don't know how to make a pattern or you don't want to spend time to make a pattern, I do it sometimes when I'm making something for myself, especially if it's a knit, because it's very forgiving. What I do is I just take a piece of clothing that's similar that I have, it fits me and I know it's fine, and I just use that as a template because it's so much easier and quicker. And with the serger, she's putting them together. Putting the ribbing. Yeah, very cute. Very good idea if you have a bunch of stuff to recycle, actually. Let's see. Ooh, a sewing hack. Yes.
I'm going to blow your mind. You see this?
Double needle. Yes.
This is a double needle, and I don't know why everybody hid this from me my entire life, but it works magic. So it has one little prong at the top, so you put it in your machine just like a regular needle, just like that.
Yes.
And if your machine can handle a zigzag, then it can handle a double needle. It's not going to be doing a zigzag, it will be on a straight stitch, but if it can handle a zigzag and it has that option, you can use the double needle. Most machines will have 2 spots to put thread, so all you have to do is put one in each spot and thread both threads like normal, and then put each thread in each hole.
Yes.
Again, have your settings on straight stitch and then sew like normal. You end up with 2 lines of thread and a zigzag on the back. This is the hem you see on a lot of t-shirts, and it has maximum stretch. If you're a beginner sewer and you work on a lot of stretch material like me, I'm going to blow your mind.
Yes, that was a great idea. They do sell those double needles for regular home sewing machines, and that's exactly how they work. It's a pretty good idea to use them. If you cannot find them and you need to do a hem, otherwise, yes, do zigzag. But yeah, they're pretty cheap. Sewing bucket tie-dye. Okay. They tie-dyed the strips. Oh, it's a... Oh, that's adorable. So real quickly, I was looking at another hashtag, which is the sewing hack one. And there's this thing, which is fork pleats. How to make pleats using a fork. I've never seen this. It makes sense and it seems pretty easy. But this is so cool. Oh, okay. This is how she tried it. I'm assuming it was originally from 5 Minute Crafts. Because there's some fork pleats attempts. That's the girl that made the amazing dress in the beginning. Yeah. I mean, it's just easier making them by hands. I do have sewing machine from my grandma that had an automatic pleater attachment. It's one of those like a wheel foot activated sewing machines, and basically the attachment did the same thing. I did try it. It kind of works. I know they make something similar still for like home sewing machines, but on there's no attachments for the industrial one that I know of. Also, I don't really do that many pleats, so it's not they can eat it. It's just easier to pin them in the end. But I thought it was really cool. I've never seen it. It's embroidery. What is this? She's burning? Oh, that's the wood burning thing. Yeah, to cut it. Makes sense. So, most industrial embroidery, like that, or lace, is made on synthetic tulle, using that as a base. So yes, if you use a heated thing like that, you can cut it just by like using it as a pen. Yeah, it's a good idea if you have it, because it does at the same time sort of singe the edges, so not a tulle phrase, but it gives you a better finish, I guess. They do make a sort of heated blade thing to cut lining in industrial cutting tables, let's say. There is electric scissors and this heated blade thing that cuts lining so it doesn't fray. This is the same principle. It's a great idea, actually. I want to try it. I'm sure my dad has one of those things. I don't solder or do any of that, but very cool. The fork thing seems to be like incredibly popular. How to sew on sequins. Okay. She's cleaning the seams. So when these are very big sequins, so it's pretty easy, I guess. When you're doing small sequins, yes. Ideally, you would cut them away from the seams because let's say you're sewing these two pieces together. When they go together and you stitch on them and you open them, the sequins in the middle basically stay up and you can see them and feel them, and it's not a good look. So the most professional way is you remove them completely from the sewing allowance, you do your seam, and when it's closed with the sequins you removed, you basically reattach them by hand so they're completely cover the seam. Yeah, exactly. You just re-stitch them on so it completely covers it and masks it. However, so this works for sequins that move, let's say. When you have the micro paillettes, the ones that are stitched on all four corners, those you can just straight up stitch on them. Or sometimes, like if you have a lot to do, sometimes it's just easier to stitch on them, break your needles, and then maybe still cut them from the seam and cover them. But if you have patience, this is the best method. Do yourself rib knit. Okay. Oh! This is interesting. So she's using the same double needle attachment from the previous video and a knit fabric. And basically she's using that to create a rib. So when you use a double needle, the thread underneath, all the threads have different tensions, and you have 3 in that case. If you pull the tension underneath, it's gonna pull the 2 seams on top together and create that, basically. I'm assuming that's what she's doing. So she's creating a rib on that, and it is elastic, mildly elastic. In this case, though, that's a good idea if you don't have anything else and you have to use that fabric. It's when you need ribbing for a t-shirt or a sweater. Usually, unless you need a specific color or a print that you don't have, then what you do is you use the same fabric. Otherwise, just buy a piece of ribbing, because in the end it looks better, it looks more professional, but it works better as well. It keeps shape better, because this the regular fabric, even if you do that, you get the look, but it's gonna stretch over time. But it's a cute idea. If, like, in a pinch, if you have to use it, great. There's a lot more. I encourage you to go look, at least until they ban TikTok. It was fun. There's a lot of things. I hope you enjoyed it and it was interesting and useful for you. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please put a like and subscribe to the channel. It's a great help. And I'll see you next time. Bye!